the CERSAI, this central registry, I'll explain what it is in simple language. A lot of people may know, but this is for the benefit of those who don't know what it does. So can we come to the first slide? So this, under the SERSAI Act, that is the Securitization and Asset Reconstruction and Enforcement of Security Interest Act, that is an act of 2002. So also on the land record registries in state governments, in many cases the encumbrances are being noted, and that is a charge which is being registered in that sense on the land record registry. So when government looked at the law and they realized that there are multiple registries which are doing the same job, there needs to be integration. Also, this is the best practice across the world. So what happened was that in 2016, the act was amended. And when the act was amended, we were supposed to integrate registries where details of properties are being stored and where there is a security interest created. So the objectives, it has three objectives. One is to regulate securitization and reconstruction of financial assets. What does that mean? There are these asset reconstruction companies which buy off assets, say from a bank, they will buy off, take over the responsibility and try to make the best of it. Either they will try to run the company better if it's a company has been taken over, or they will sell the assets or parcel it out and do something with it. So that is one objective. The other is to provide for the banks and financial institutions to recover their debts without going to court. So Section 20, the Central Registry on the SERSAI Act, as we said, was set up in 2011. Online filing of notices of, notice means that it's a public notice. Okay, it's not a notice in the sense we are giving time for anything. It's a public notice, a declaration that I, as a secured creditor or as a creditor, am holding a right over a certain property. So I'm declaring that. So it was set up for secured creditors for all kinds of property, immovables, movables, tangibles, right up to patents, trademarks, anything can be registered there. And movables include stocks, all kinds of secured interests. Secured creditors can log in, they can register, they can search, they can amend and cancel security interests online. Plus, because that is the international best practice, online public search facility based on a nominal fee is also available. Like suppose I want to check, I want to do a transaction with somebody and I want to know if that person has actually, suppose I want to buy land and I want to find out whether that land has been mortgaged to anybody and he might be telling a lie. So I can go and search, pay some 11 rupees online, 10 plus whatever GST, and then search on debtor name and asset type, and we can get searches results which help us as individuals or public persons or any other organizations may like to search. So this is a public search facility. This was added much later, and this is where at these points comes in why are we talking about ease of doing business? Because any business will become easy if there is such a registry which gives all the data in one place. And if we have an integration with land record registries, we have already done with the integration is very critical. So let's look at how much security interest is put in on this central registry. As on 31/3/2020, the immovables were 2.8 crore. I think it has gone to, I think the figure is 3.8 crore now, if I'm not wrong. This is the number of properties registered. So it's quite big as a pool. The other thing is the integration. What has happened is in 28 that with the Companies Act site, just for information navigation purpose, there has been an integration. But the only true integration that we have done in terms of the law, completing what is required in Section 20A, I will come to Section 20. So this was simplified, and last year in May, we had a very good navigation link based on registration number of the vehicle, and we did it. Now the hope is that the land record registries also should have some kind of unique number or some identity number which will help in navigating and connecting the registries. So the ideal situation is, say in Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh, where they had a good level of digitization, we have given two-way navigation links in one case and I think one way in one. That detail will be shared by CERSAI. There what happens is somebody goes into the Maharashtra land record registry, they can also navigate into the central registry under the SERSAI Act. and check there also. So ideally, if we had a common code, we would need to check in two places and the result should be thrown up straight away. That is the best case scenario. So the best case is not yet reached, and that is one reason why we want to clean up what has already been done, have a better integration, and where we haven't been able to integrate, we will need to have a detailed look at the issues, the IT issues, the digitization levels, the variety, all that will be discussed later, the variety of structures of databases, those are critical things. So right now we are here in section 20A, and what needs to be integrated is land record registries of other states and various other central and state registries. Can we go to the next slide? So now we come to the really technical part. What has the World Bank been looking at in the ease of doing business reforms under the getting credit indicator? So for that, now we come to the really technical part. What has the World Bank been looking at in the ease of doing business reforms under the getting credit indicator? So for that, we need to look at Chapter 4A of the SERSAI Act. It has 4 sections, 26B, C, D, and E. Now 26B basically says that you and me, any other creditors, as I mentioned initially, other than secured creditors defined under the Act, that is other than the banks and financial institutions already defined under the Act, can register their security interest on the central registry. So we'll have a right, we already have a right now. So the software was done right, everything was done, and then we launched this. Next slide, please. Under this getting credit indicator, India's ranking improved to 22 and slightly slid to 25 in 2019 because somebody else did better. We got a lot of points for doing large number of reforms. And what is so important about World Bank's ranking, I think Radhaji will be able to tell you even better. It is very important because a lot of investment comes in and India is perceived better in the eyes of various businesses, and I mean people will come in India, and these are difficult times. We need to keep on working on these indicators. So when this notification was done of the Chapter 4A, the implementation was basically that we brought it into force. But the next level is the more difficult level, is to make sure that everybody knows. In a sense, the entire country, everybody should know you have a right to register. It is like telling everybody, this is your right, and in various languages, you have to communicate. So huge communication, program is being planned by DPIIT and by us, by the CERSAI, the Central Registry, so that everybody gets their right to register and our universe of the security interest is full, completed, and everybody knows, okay, this property, I am a bank, I am seeing this property is already mortgaged to some individual and this person is cheating that individual, that means. So you will watch and you will not give loans to such people. Now the integration, the section 20A, as I mentioned, it provides for integration of property registration systems of state governments and other authorities and also central governments for recording secured interests with central registry. And the purpose is single point access. After integration, the dates of integration and the availability of integrated records is to be notified by us, that is the Department of Financial Services, the Government of India. When I'm sure it is fully integrated, I'm satisfied, like in the case of Vahan, I'll take out a notification. And in that, I will say security interests registered under any registration system so integrated are deemed to be registered with CERSAI. Basic idea is the people should be comfortable, the banks, financial institutions, state governments themselves. If you register in one place, you should not register twice. Why should you have multiple registries? It is a bad practice and it's confusing, and also there is a time lag in registration. Somewhere it is live, somewhere it is very dated, some people are not updating. So because this registration doesn't mean one-time registration, it means registration, modification and deletion of the records, which is called satisfaction of security. So that means you have to get rid of the records so that tomorrow I have taken a loan, I have paid off, but my property is still showing as mortgage, and the bank is in serious trouble. It's wrong. So there is provision for penalties and all for banks. So similarly, anybody who is registering anything also has the duty to remove when it's done and also modify if there's a signature. Integration, this is the reform which has not been done because it is only started. In that sense, only Vahan has been done. We have been claiming part reform as implemented under the getting credit indicator. As I said, one is done, Chapter 4A, but yet it may not be treated as a completed reform because people don't know yet. An individual registration there has not gone up much. It is just about started. So that has to be implemented in the true spirit. and this has to be actually implemented. So this is one critical focus reform because of which DPIIT, which is coordinating, is having this meeting. So we need to integrate land record registry. The others we are going ahead with various ministries and all, whatever we can move. This is a long process, definitely, but land record registry integration is highest on the agenda of the World Bank and definitely anyway of the government. And Department of Land Resources also is very much.
Thank you very much, Joint Secretary DRT, and welcome everyone on this presentation on CERSAI. Already, the basics of CERSAI and what we are doing as such for last 8 years has been covered by Madam Vandita Paul. I'll just dwell on the subject of how integration has been done and what easy steps can be taken in order to make it possible to have a navigational link between the state land registries and the central registry. Next slide, please. This is the reform number 71, and it talks about on point number 6 about integrating the central registry of CERSAI. And this is part of state reforms action plan, which states are trying to achieve through integration. Now, as far as information are concerned, which we captured in our history, the detailed each data point I'll cover up in my subsequent slides. Just to give information that whenever a lender is giving a loan, there are certain attributes which are being captured by the lender in the CERSAI template, and it is the information which is carried in the registration documents of the government agencies like survey numbers, plot numbers, house numbers. And these are some identifiers which are also captured by the land registries. So that makes the whole process two-way more simplified, which I'll cover up in the subsequent slides. And this information, when captured on CERSAI, is provided to public through public search facilities. And this search facility is of two kinds. One is on the basis of attributes of the set which is being searched, and you give those attributes, feed it into the search engine, and we provide you the matching results. If it is encumbered, the encumbrances detail come over to the search information and can be downloaded. Similarly, we have another search which is called database search, and here you can put in the name and some more attributes of the data, and based on that, whatever properties of that particular data are encumbered with any of the secured character, that is popped up on the screen and can be checked out, please. So these are the two kind of basic search facilities which are provided. This is a paid kind of search facility with a nominal charges of 10 rupees being charged along with GST. Now, this is slightly what we have tried to show are what are the advantages of integrating. And as already touched upon, it gives a company, after we have an integration done with the land record registries, we will get a comprehensive information on ownership and encumbrances. Land record registry provides the ownership details. And many land registries across the country are not providing the encumbrances detail. Some are doing that. Maharashtra government was doing it. But others are not providing all type of encumbrances details, which is being captured at CERSAI. So once we have an integration and a combination of these two registries, there could be one shot information on ownership and encumbrances, something which we are trying to achieve through these integrations. As already said, the encumbrances was filed only by the secured creditors, which were banks and institutions. Now, any kind of individual borrower, company, HUF, partnership firms, trust, anyone who is a lender and is taking a property as a encumbrance becomes a secured creditor in a way and can file the secured interest of property on CERSAI portal. So that information and that set of information, which we expect will be huge one, including the attachment orders and the court orders, will also become part of the CERSAI database. And as touched upon earlier, there is a priority being also attached to the security interest filing on the CERSAI platform. And there are legal implications of this, and a very important one. And there is persuasive and there is encouragement to all secured creditors to file their encumbrances as fast as possible and quickly onto CERSAI platform, so that they do not lose priority in any form as far as legal angle is concerned. So in all, we can say a complete 360-degree view on the property will be available by integration, who the ownership is, what are the encumbrances, is there any attachment order on a property, is there a court order, who has put the encumbrances, which all encumbrances, which priority are there. So this kind of information is so helpful to any investor, any future investor, or even a buyer of a property, or any future lender of a property, that it gives a fillip to the kind of getting credit criteria of ease of doing business. Now, what we have referred to here is the integration of land records, as NV says in the section 20A and touched upon by DRT. Of course, is the ultimate step, and we will like to achieve it at some point of time when we have the records integrated by means of APIs. And it will require some amount of readiness on the part of various registries as far as level of digitization is concerned, the kind of templates, the commonality of fields will be concerned, and this provides a great amount of relief to any investor, any person who is trying to find out who has the ownership and who has the encumbrance. And the prerequisites for these are very simple. You just need a web-based portal accessible through internet. And secondly, there is a public search functionality should be available to general public without any login or registration. These are only two prerequisites. I think your technical team will be able to understand this, and we will have our own technical team dedicated on this purpose, which will work with all land registries and their assisting system integrators so as to make it possible. If we dedicatedly work on this, I think it should not take more than a week to achieve this for any one registry. And we have bandwidth to simultaneously work with many state governments. So we will welcome all the teams to get in touch with us. We can take this forward. Advantages, as I said, it can be two-way. We can have a navigation link between which takes a person from CERSAI side to the land registry, and from the land registry side over to the CERSAI. It can be one way also, but we'll prefer to have it two-way so that entire advantage is available. It can be done on a very short notice. There's no revenue involved in this kind of navigational link. And common parameters can be pre-populated. These have to be found out, and we'll be working with the teams in order to find out what are the common parameters between the two registries so that these can be auto-populated and the whole search becomes very easy. Here we are given the three easy steps, just three simple steps which need to be taken, and we can make it possible, please. We have to identify common parameters and work out a mode of exchange. This technical team will understand better. It could be query-based or it could be HTTP header-based. We will work with them and find this out. CERSAI's URL is to be placed on the web portal of the land registry so that people can be encouraged to click on that and come over to CERSAI and do the search there. Similarly, we will place the URL of the concerned land registry on our site so that anyone who is searching CERSAI site can be encouraged to go over to land registry and find out who the ownership is. So there are three simple steps. It's a very simple thing to achieve, and I think we can ask our technical teams to get in touch with each other and take it forward and try to achieve it as fast as possible, please. These are some of the achievements which have already been done. We have done a two-way navigational link with ROC. We have done it with Maharashtra idea. We have done it with Vahan. And subsequently, on Vahan registrations have been stopped on CERSAI. We have done it with patents, designs, and copyright registry. That is one way. On their side, they do not have it because of some constraints on their digital on their part. With Delhi land records also, we have done one-way navigational link, and we had discussion with some state governments on this, which has gone to some distance. But I think with this kind of encouragement which has come from DPIIT, we will reignite these discussions and try to take them forward. And in remarks, I have given the kind of choices which have been provided in CERSAI history, like immovable category. I have only touched immovable assets. I have taken away movable and others, which is also a very complicated and long template. This is asset owner data attributes. This gives some information on the asset owner. And this information, as I said, will also be available with the land record registry so as to this will relate to them better, and perhaps some of these could also become part of our common parameters which can be exchanged subsequently while doing the integration.